All right, guys. Today on Part-Time Build, see the wrong way to pull two 4.6s out of Mercury Grand Marquis. What's people's thoughts on? You take the harness from the car loose and leave it with the engine when you pull it, or do you go through and unbolt, unclip all the harness, leave it with the car and pull the engine? I'm on team leave the harness on the motor. It'd be nice to see the other harness and this harness and compare with both motors in the shop. But some vehicles that ain't even possible because they'll have like one or two random wires going to some random thing with no plug and you can't get to it. But this one looks like bulkheads right here, so I might as well just whole thing.
You don't want to just snip it?
Yeah, that's an option.
Just
cut the whole thing and worry about it later. Screw the next guy.
You are the next guy.
I am the next guy. I got to pull from something back there that I can't even see. I got these studs here that I could put a chain on and put a nut on, and it, worst come to worst, this is practice. So if I break something on this one, so be it. I can break it on, not break it on the good motor. That's why I'm doing this one first. This is trial. Well, actually, this one's error. That one's trial. Yeah, the radiator drained. He just had water in there, no coolant, but I got the radiator drained. I got to start taking the hoses off. I've already started unbolting this thing. It's got these weird kind of rubber mounts. I thought that was pretty cool, but I got this out. I'm going to yank that out with the hoses. I'm hoping to take them off from the car and take the hoses and everything because this is bolted on. It's connected to the bottom radiator hose and the T. I don't know if you can see that down there, but way, way down there. There. This thing leaks like an old Harley Davidson down below. It is freaking everywhere. So it might have a cracked block and it might have lost all its oil. It has oil in it. I don't know if he added some because it's over full. Alright, as you see, I got the radiator out. That was a chore. If y'all have to do this job, don't be lazy. That's all I did here. Just this whole bunch of lazy that went bad. Take the transmission cooler and the power steering cooler, which is one. Take that out. I try to unbolt it from the radiator inside the dang thing. Just don't do that. Just undo the whole thing. But I started doing the intake, getting this off and getting throttle body off, and you can't make this shit up. Like, this thing's got tissues in the box. And then I found a spray nozzle that goes to this car. It's the same thing, but this one has both. So why was this in here? And you got sticks. Like, the sticks make sense. The tissue kind of makes sense. Like, he might have been checking his oil and dropped it because he's got another one here. Here for checking the oil because the thing leaks so much. He probably checked it a lot. And I can see him dropping that down there and it going whoop. But this, that don't make no sense. I don't know how that ends up in there. So, and this thing ain't been changed in a while. It's flat full of grass and stuff. I've seen worse, way worse, but do your maintenance, guys. Do your maintenance so you can find sprayers in your intake. Oh, really? What is it? What are you? What are you? It's an 8. When you grab 9, it doesn't work. Yep, that's what it was. Don't grab 9 and it works. Alright, so since I'm trying to pull the motor and tranny out together, I can undo all the wires and the positive and negative cable from the fender well, drape it over the motor, pull it all out in one piece hopefully, and put this ground back so I don't forget. And I like that. Good job, Mercury. They painted them. See that? They painted your grounds. So you can go right to the source. So I should be able to take this and this, put that back before I lose it. Alright, we got a connector here connecting it to the body. Another one over here. Got it. And got one plug. Got 3 plugs, but it looks like only one's going to the harness. There it goes. Boop. Heck yeah. And oh god. Nope. Yeah, there we go. Now make a mess. Okay. Pop the top where the fun don't stop. It's just like a 90-degree fitting going into. Ooh, hold on. There's a nut there. I wonder if that nut spins. Good luck getting a wrench on that thing with that pulley in the way. What if I just unbolt the power steering pump and put it on the new one? When I put them, I don't want more crap in my way though. More crap in the way, the worse it is. If I can get that power steering line off, that would be great. I'm unbolting the bulk head for the wiring harness right under the brake booster. It unbolts the whole engine harness. It looks like there's 3 plugs. One's you got to take a bolt off the back to unbolt it. It's kind of working its way off now. And there's a little one under it and a little one above it. And I should be able to take the whole harness and put it on this engine. I got the fuel lines disconnected. Power steering's disconnected, transmission cooler line's disconnected. That's what I was saying about that radiator, guys. You gotta do it anyway. Don't do what I did. Just undo it from the beginning so it all comes out. So you gotta fight it. So I just got done taking the cooler out. It's sitting there on the ground. I can't get this on. What? Okay. I see how this is gonna go. The rudeness. All right.
What are you trying to get?
Trying to get the exhaust manifold bolts, you know, the right way with a Dremel. I can't get the Dremel in there. Oh. I can go there, but I won't be able to cut all the way through it. What's up? Now my Dremel's stuck. Now I got bigger problems. There we go. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. I have to cut it from the bottom. Hopefully the other motor's exhaust manifolds are good, because I already broke 2 bolts. These don't have the studs on them like the other ones usually do. So you'd have to drill it out, re-tap it, put a different bolt in there. I'd rather not do all that.
Are you ready for dinner?
Yeah.
Okay.
So close. This is working, Mama.
What's the issue?
I think the tranny needs to come down, but I can't come down because I'm hitting the bracket. So, this is gonna fix that problem.
Did she come out?
Always put your hand in there when you're jacking it up. Alright, we're almost over the front of the arm here. Let's go.
Beautiful.
Ain't yet. Okay, so we're caught on something. Found it. Found it. Let's try again. Just the AC compressor. Nothing to worry about here. I was told the car had AC. So instead of recharging the system, you know, the easy way to unbolt it, I was like, let's just unbolt the compressor and leave it in the car. So all the compressor lines are still hooked up, the AC lines. So far, it's working. But it's gonna bite me when I go to put the other one in there. Instead of just evacuating the system and recharging it after. Saved me $60 in refrigerant. But miles of headache. Miles. Okay. Make sure you're not getting in the camera view what I hooked that motor mount up to.
Just gonna move up here.
Huh?
But okay, we'll just move up here.
Yeah, that'd probably be best. Okay, the jack's not doing anything anymore. So we're all on this. So this is when you want to look around and see all the things you missed. I don't see anything. No? I'm not seeing it. That'd be a miracle. Okay. So I'm not caught up on any of that AC stuff. No, I'm floating. I just got to get it to roll forward and come up more. It doesn't sound good. Okay. So there's what I'm caught on. Let's see this over here. If you can get your view down in here. Remember that fiberglass I was telling you about? No. I'm up against the firewall. So I actually need the tranny to come down a little bit, but right now it's just hovering the way it is. Ooh. That is so dangerous. Ooh, dog. That's not good. My bolt's about to snap. This thing needs to get out of the car and on the ground immediately. All right, we need to get the car out of the way now. So we need the car to go way back. Ready?
Yeah.
Dangerous. My baggie didn't work. Right.
Watch it.
Did it, babe.
Thanks.
Right, come over here and help me out.
Okay.
No, I don't want you to do it. That thing's on its last leg. I'm just making it worse.
She's crying.
It's Harbor Freight. It might complain a little bit, but it'll work.
At least this is the locked up motor.
This baby.
This is error, right?
Yeah, this was error.
Out of trial and error.
Trial and error. This is error.
This one's error.
Yeah, a lot of error. A lot of error. AC compressor's still in there.
Yeah.
It's covered in transmission fluid, but it's in there. Now I see what we were caught on now. See that bracket all bent up?
Mm-hmm.
That was caught right there. There. Maybe there.
Okay.
Professional engine stands right here, guys. This is a train secret. If you have engine and transmission off at once, you need 2 stands. So y'all know. That's your, I'm definitely gonna have to reuse that on the next build. Let's save on that. That's power steering. Going to your rack and pinion system.
There she is, all her beauty.
It's just messy. It's about the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen in my life. My plan when I did this was to see, I figured this wasn't a good idea, my bracketry here. I wouldn't zoom too close to it. Don't do this. This is sketchy, y'all. But there's no good lifting spot for this motor. And I looked up online and I did all the research I could on it with people. There's not a lot of videos of people actually pulling these. And I'm starting to see why. When Ford builds these cars, they put it all on this, the whole front suspension, all this, the motor's bolted to it already, and they just drop the car down on it. I don't have a lift or, the luxury of doing that. So Ford didn't think about pulling these engines. They just thought about dropping the whole cradle with the engine in them. But my plan was get it out and then find a good spot. So if something breaks on this one, I'll know where to lift it on the other one. Looking, there ain't really a good spot. I didn't like lifting from here because for one, that's a tiny little bolt going into the head, and I figured it'd probably crack the dang head. And it's aluminum head. And now that I'm looking, there's still not a good spot. So I don't know how I'm safely gonna remove the other one. All right, victim 2 in the shop. We got the other motor sitting here, dripping all over my concrete. As you can see, as always, I already got started a little bit. By the way, headlights on a Mercury this is a 99. That's the coolest system I've ever seen to take a headlight out. All it is, I got them in here. These little clips. They slide on there. And when they're on the car, they're pushed down. So you just grab this tab and pull it up. And pull the other one off and pull them right out of the front. I wish I would have looked at that before I unclipped them. Because I unclipped them in the car. But learning what I did on the last one, y'all. We're just going to go ahead. We're going to take the front bumper, the grill off. Which, that is not a good system on these Mercuries. These things They got them bolted down good. You'd think they'd be easy to change with this thing being taxi cars and all that, but I took the other one off and it was a nightmare. But working on getting that off. I was looking at this on the other one now that I have the motor out. I think I can take the whole cowling off with a couple Phillips screws and some clips under that rubber stripping. So I'm probably going to pull that off to get some more room. So as I'm taking this off, guys, I wanted to share with you all what my dad shared with me when I was about my kid's age, which was about 7, really, when we grew up racing dirt bikes. And we weren't allowed to race if we didn't do our own maintenance on our bikes, change our oil, clean our air filters. And I'm doing the same thing with my kids. I just wanted to say, the whole reason I'm doing this YouTube channel is I'm not the smartest guy, obviously, as y'all can see in the videos. But my dad always told me, if it went together, it can come back apart. It always has nuts and bolts. That's all it is at the end of the day. If it went together, it can come back apart. And the worst that can happen is you break it. And usually when you're working on something, it's already broken. So as you can see with my kids out here playing in the shop, I like to get my kids involved when I'm working on this stuff, because that's what my dad did with me as a kid. Is we were always out there with my dad messing with something growing up, and now I haven't got away from that. It's, you know, so be prepared for that. But at the end of the day, it's all nuts and bolts. Anyone can do this stuff. You just got to be willing to break something and try and keep trying until you get it right. So much more room for activities. Look at this. All right, so got that thing off. Wasn't that bad. Wasn't easy, but wasn't that bad. You got your Phillips screws across the top here. There's 2 little plastic clips that always break on the ends. It comes off in pieces. There's 2 covers, and then the middle piece. And as I found out, that big red plug, your windshield wiper motor is underneath that, along with your washers obviously are on there. And luckily a rat chewed through mine from sitting or a squirrel way over there. And I didn't have to disconnect that, but I did have to undo the motor, the windshield wiper motor. If yours is filthy like mine, I recommend shot backing it out to find the bolts. This one was so rusted and rounded off, I ended up just prying the plastic over it. Had another one over there I had to cut out the stud. Had another one right here I had to cut because the head was rounded off, and I didn't want to break the plastic here. Don't know why. You have your 2 bolts here, you have a bolt there, and then you have a bolt here. And looking at this, I took 2 bolts off like here, and I don't think they're like 10 millimeter. All the rest are 8s. I don't think you have to do the 10s. I think all that's for is to hold the windshield wiper motor on. So if you guys are doing this and you need to change a windshield wiper on your Mercury, take out the Phillips screws, pop the covers, and then you'll have 8 millimeters here. On the other windshield wiper mount, you gotta take your wipers off, and then you have 1 here and 1 there. And that whole thing lifted up, and this harness is plenty long enough you can lift it up, flip it over on the motor, and unplug this. So don't try to unplug it in place. And then there was hose too here, but see, squirrel got me. This thing was under an oak tree, so I'm guessing squirrel. But that's off. You should have plenty of room to get that off. But now I got even more room. I can get to this throttle body, and I can start looking at a good place to mount. And I'm thinking about going on one of these ears down here off the side of the head. And then what I lifted from last time, and it worked perfect, was the stud here. I ran my chain on there and tightened the big washer and nut on it. So I'll probably do that on this one, and then I'll just go the opposite direction that I did in the other one and back out one of these and see if I have a longer bolt to run in there and pull this one out. But now that I got the front, I wish I would have done this on the other one. Now y'all know, if y'all ever do something this dumb. But now I got plenty of room to take the radiator out, take the condenser, take all that off. And that gives me all the access to the front of the motor where I can unplug all the wires, unplug the power steering pump, undo the AC. And then all I got left after that is exhaust, the bulkhead. I don't know if I showed this very well on the other one. I know I talked about it, but these 3 wires right here, 1, 2, and 3, you undo those and you can lay this whole harness on your engine, and that goes through the transmission, everything. So you lay that on there, and then all you have left after that, the AC one is separate, which one of those might even be the AC. I just unplugged everything. But the AC line is separate controls, so you don't have to worry about that. You have these controls over here you got to undo because it's part of your thing, so you ain't got to crawl under there and undo the starter unless you're separating the motor and tranny. I'm pulling the whole thing out as one. But you can take your leads, your positive and negative, lay it on there, and that way everything stays with the motor. You ain't got to sit there and try to decipher it outside of the car. You can keep all the harness, everything with the motor, pull it out, and then you can get to everything, unplug it, it's back. You ain't breaking clips. But that's what I'm gonna work on next, guys. I'm gonna get all this stuff out of the front. Looking at it, looks like you got these two brackets here on the front that hold the radiator in. There's probably something down low, or it just sits in a clip. Actually, I see I got something here. So I got 1 and 2 on the other side, and usually they just cradle into the bottom. But I gotta drain it first and unhook the AC and unhook power steering and transmission cooler lines. Not gonna make that same mistake twice. And then I can rip all this crap out. So, I'll be back with y'all.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if I was right in my theory of taking all of it out as one piece instead of taking the condenser out, the transmission cooler out, and all that. I got everything disconnected. All the bolts, I think, are out. And let's see, pull the AC lines off. I don't know if the condenser is going to come out with it, but it's disconnected either way. Oh, yeah. Good things are happening. Make a mess. Check. I got a drip pan somewhere. As long as you get the last drop in the drip pan, it's a success. All right. Yeah, I'd say that was easier. So everything, one piece. That was a fraction of the time of what it took me to do the other car. So definitely do it that way and just pay and recharge your system when you're done. Don't do what I did. So radiator, cooler, transmission cooler, which is power steering cooler, it's all one. Condenser's out. Now I got room to get to the front of the motor. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the top of the AC, that whole line out. I need to do the wiring, heater core, and start messing with the exhaust. And like I said, if it fights me too bad, Sawzall. And transmission. And this thing should be getting close, so we'll see how that goes. And we'll try to get better footage of lifting this one. The last one was really sketchy. As y'all saw in the video, the wife was in the car. I was out here. Bad things happened. I ruined one of my drip pans, ran it over. Very safe operation we're running here. But we'll try to do this one a little better. So I'm taking the last few electrical connections off. There's the flathead. I got the transmission cross member out and unhooked. And got the linkage to the transmission unhooked. Got fuel lines disconnected. Electrical to the motor is what I'm doing now. Should use a pen for these, but there we go. Got a ground to do, which looks like a 10. We can take this off. This is already unhooked. Here. That should be it. Got the hoist hooked up. I got the motor on the jack on the transmission, so I can lower it this time. Unlike last time, I can control the angle coming out. So hopefully y'all get a better view of this one. It ain't as sketchy. We'll see.
Bro?
Yep. Cracked the lug off that head like I said it would. Take two.
You need some help for this?
What?
You need my help for this?
I don't know, man.
Okay. I'm gonna go change this back. I'll be right back.
So now I need to go down a hair, which ain't gonna be very hairy because, you know, the way it is. Out of here. Yeah, I'm hitting the stuff now. Oh, it's awesome. Don't be like that, you stupid hoe. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. steering line on the power steering pump. I'm not even, probably shouldn't stick oil down the water system. All right, let's go. Scrap money. Ooh. Scrap money. Ooh. Oh yeah. How clogged up those things get. Thanks, government. Alright. Now I got all the rooms in the world. All of them. What's going on here? What's going on here? Yeah, you know? It's like the motor doesn't want to be saved. Fighting me every step. See? Another step. Right there. Fight me. I think now, going forward. Sit. Get it over the top. Okay. Now we need to bring the car down. Okay, now I need professional jack stands.
Nope, 2 more tires?
2 more tires. Okay, there you have it, guys. Got both of them out. Full transparency, neither one of them went well, but they're both out. I wanted to show you all my big if you want to come in closer for what I did here. Cool. I want to be transparent on, so I don't want y'all to hurt yourself like I almost did. You look right there. Remember how I told you on that one? I lifted from the bolt, bent the bolt. Stupid idea. Don't do it. Well, I was like, well, I couldn't find anywhere. It worked on the last one. I'm gonna try again. Well, cracked the ear off the head. Shouldn't be anything important because it's just the ear. The head looks fine, so I'm gonna use it. But I ended up, as you'll see, of me ripping it out. We're probably gonna put it in fast forward because it took so long. As you can see, I just wrapped the strap. I belly wrapped the strap around the transmission and came up here to get it out, so I didn't want to break anything else. That's what I talked about doing from the beginning, and I didn't do it. I got in a rush. I'm actually in between working right now, my real job, and I had some time off, so I ran home and tried to rip this out, and I got in a rush and started breaking stuff. So just want to be transparent with y'all and want to tell y'all my flaws so y'all don't make the same mistakes. Now that we got both of these things out, though, I got a good view on what I need to do to get that in there. Right now, one of the biggest concerns I have is transmission, which I brought up in the first clip. Very first video is the transmission. The transmission numbers don't match, but it's the same transmission as far as, I forgot what they call them, the 4AOD or whatever it is. Same transmission, same transmission pan, same plugs, but this one out of the 99 actually has one more plug than the 03, and that is, I'm guessing, a speed sensor, because it's back here on the tail housing, and then this 03 has it plugged off. So if you can see that, this one has a plug here, this one has a cap. It's just plugged off. Right here. And you can see it has the indentation for it. I did some measurements. The transmission mounts are going to be the same. Everything looks the same on it, guys. It's just the plugs are the same. These plugs are the same for your neutral safety and all that. It's all the same. It's just this one has one more. So what I'm thinking about doing, with that being said, is I'm going to do a whole top end trim of this. And to do that, I'm going to do the whole thing. I'm going to take intake, throttle body, valve covers, and take them all off, swap them. For one, when I broke that bolt out, I dented up this fuel rail anyway, but this fuel rail doesn't match the fuel inlet lines on the 03. So I'm going to switch that over anyway. So that car, it's a plug and play when I put it in that car. Coil wires, injector plugs are all the same, but if I change this injector, I plan on just taking everything with it and putting it on this motor here. Valve covers are pretty much the same. I thought it was pretty weird. They moved the fill between the two different years, but the bolt pattern and the shape, everything's the same. The only thing I was noticing is the PCV valve on this one is a little bigger, and this one has a 90-degree elbow coming out of it for the other PCV, and that one doesn't. So I'm just going to switch valve covers. The bolt patterns are the same. The goal is to make this as plug and play as possible when I put this motor into the 03. I'm going to have to jack them up again and look at the oil pans, but from what I saw doing both motor pools, they look pretty much the same. But I'll jack them up and look a little better, make sure, so I don't have to switch the pickup in the oil pan. The other thing I needed to do, as you can see in this view here, the pulley setup's different, but the two things I'm keeping the same are in the same location as far as the power steering, and it's the same diameter, and the AC are in the same location on the other motor. And I actually think he had this one routed wrong, and I think it's supposed to have another pulley here that he didn't have on there because it was rubbing the tensioner, and the tensioner didn't have enough tension on it, and that's why it was rubbing. So I'm thinking this one wasn't routed right to begin with, and he's missing one of the idler pulleys. So I think I'm just going to try to keep this one the way it is, and that shouldn't affect anything. The bracket for the alternator is the same, and if not, this alternator will bolt up. They're interchangeable. Water neck looks pretty much the same. Where's the thermostat? The inside, yeah, that's the same. So, and the biggest thing is the exhaust manifold, which I wasn't looking forward to. Hopefully I didn't have to change these, but I do. These always seem to want to break off because they're aluminum heads. So I might have to get new studs when I put it on this motor, and hopefully I don't have to weld nuts on there and pull the studs out of this motor when I take this exhaust off. And I'm going to have to fix two of the studs I broke off when I was pulling the exhaust out of the 03. But the crossover for the EGR is on the opposite, on the driver's side on this motor. It's on the passenger side on this motor. So it's weird how they change little things like that between the years when it's the same block. But I'm guessing clearance-wise for that rack and pinion steering, all that. This one seems to have a smaller starter too, which is nice. But so top of the motor, exhaust manifolds, transmission plugs, plug off that one port on this one, and then I want to switch over the whole wiring harness to this motor. But that'll all be in another video. I'll probably have a video of me putting all the stuff onto this one and trying to get it in that one. And we'll do a first startup video. Hopefully it works out. And if not, I'll just look like an idiot. So, and y'all know not to do this. But hope y'all enjoyed this one. Sorry we didn't get a lot of footage. It was kind of in between work and family stuff. I've been trying to do this really quick, and I've been just breaking stuff. So there you go.